very little about curling, so why don't you give us the brief overview?
Okay, it's a team sport. It's 4 players on a team, and it's a non-interference team sport. So it's pretty unusual. Most team sports have contact and interaction. So with curling, one team takes its turn and then waits patiently while the other team takes its turn. What you're doing in that turn is you're throwing a 42-pound granite stone down a 150-foot length sheet of ice, and you're trying to land it, in the simplest terms, closest to the bullseye on the far end of the ice.
How do you train for that?
I think most sports train pretty similarly. We do a lot of lifting, Olympic lifting in the gym. We do a lot of cardio maintenance and ability to recover, because sweeping is pretty aggressive and your heart rate goes up, and then you have to throw the stone immediately afterwards, and you need to kind of lower your heart rate pretty quickly. So our training's pretty similar. It's off ice in the gym. On ice, it's throwing shots and doing sweeping drills and throwing shots and throwing shots. So I'm here almost every day that I'm not traveling, and even a lot of days that I am in the winter. So I'm here a couple hours a day.
How did you first get interested in curling? Because it's not the usual high school sport.
No, it's not. Well, I played every sport that was available to me. I was on a swim team from the time I was probably about 6 years old. I've always played sports, and I think my parents signed me up when I was 10. We're not sure, 10, 11, 12, right around there. I played my first junior curling game here at Exmoor. You know, I loved it, but I played very casually as a junior, as a youth. And I played other sports competitively: basketball, softball, swimming, diving, golf, all those other sports. I was about 25 when I first played competitively in the United States. My career is a little backwards. It came as an adult instead of as a child.
How did you hear about it at first, specifically Exmoor's program?
My family's been members here since the late 70s. So my parents golfed, and we were on the Exmoor swim team and learned to play tennis here. And in the winter, curling was available on Sunday afternoons, junior curling. Both my brother and I played here almost every Sunday from the time we were, again, 10 to 12 until we left for college.
Are there specific positions on the team, or do you all just kind of cycle through?
You train for a specific position. There are 4 players. There's the lead, the second, the third, and then the skip. I play the lead, so I throw the first 2 rocks for our team, and it's alternating with the lead of the opposition team. Everyone's different. My shots are very finesse-based. They're touch-based. They're not a lot of high power. That's pretty much what I practice.
So I know that the championships were in Fargo. You just got back from Scotland. It sounds like you travel a lot. About how much of the year is set aside for that?
For curling specifically, about 120 days a year. It's a full-time gig.
What's your survival mechanism for being on the road so often?
I think the greatest invention that has happened is a combination of the iPad mini and the Kindle and Amazon's books. It has made my world a lot lighter and a more accessible place. Reading is pretty critical, and being on the road, it's great to FaceTime. I can see my husband and my parents and connect, and with Twitter and Facebook, you don't feel that far away anymore. Spending 5 hours yesterday in the airport wasn't as bad as 5 hours, say, 10 years ago.
Yeah. So how are you preparing for the Olympics? I know that you went in 2002. What's different?
You know, I've competed in every Olympic trial since 1998. So I've been training essentially full-time to go to the Olympics for 20 years. I think what makes this time unique is I know it's my last time. And so, I don't know, it sounds kind of trite, but the no regrets part, that statement, I think a lot of athletes like to use it. It's really true. I don't have any regrets, so going into this games, we have done everything we could possibly do in order to bring home a medal. That was the reason why we put our team together 3 years ago. It's a super team, as it were, of really experienced players. So I know going into it what our goal is. It's a medal. It isn't just enjoying the experience. I think maybe in 2002, it was about being there. Now it's going to be about performing while being there.
And when do the curling events take place? I know the Olympics are spread over a pretty considerable amount of time.
I believe we have our first training session at 9 a.m. the day after opening ceremonies.
Oh, yikes.
And our medals will be presented the evening before closing ceremonies. So we actually compete almost the entire 17 days of the games.
Oh my gosh.
We have a very different experience than individual sports. skiing, it's basically a day of training, a day of competing, a day of training, a day of competing, depending on how many events you play. And then your goal is to do it as quickly as possible. I mean, for us, our games are almost 3 hours long. We will play 11 of them to win a medal, and maybe more if there's tiebreakers. Some days we're on the ice for 6 to 7 hours in a day at the Olympics.
So you're not really planning on seeing any other events while you're there?
No, there is a chance that I am going to get to see the USA Men Slovakia hockey game. So it'd be Patrick Kane versus Marian Hossa, I believe. I think that's like the one event I can go to, and then hopefully gold medal men's hockey game. Hopefully. Pretty much nothing else is available to us. I mean, there's going to be stuff happening in the village kind of around you that's different than a normal competition, obviously. The Olympic circus it's a great privilege, right? The butterflies that creates, and you gotta love that feeling.